At the start of the movie, we are introduced to Sonny, a prominent mob boss. He's a significant figure in the underworld. One day, he, along with his team, pays a visit to a man named Sasha. Sasha has expressed interest in joining Sonny's crew. It turns out that Sasha has a connection to the group. He's been friends with Nicholas, one of Sonny's trusted members, for about 2 years. Nicholas vouches for Sasha, believing he'd be a valuable addition to their team. But Sonny is meticulous about who he lets into his inner circle. To ensure Sasha's credibility, he decides to test him with a lie detector. The stakes are high. If Sasha lies, Sonny won't hesitate to deal with him harshly. Sonny begins by probing Sasha's past affiliations. Sasha reveals his background, mentioning that he previously served in the Special Forces and had stints with the CIA and German intelligence. Impressive credentials, but Sonny has a pressing concern. The FBI has been on Sonny's tail for a long time. He needs to ascertain Sasha's current loyalties. Sonny directly asks Sasha if he's currently working with or for the FBI. Sasha confidently states that while he has collaborated with the FBI in the past, he's not with them anymore. Throughout this intense interrogation, the lie detector backs up Sasha's claims, indicating he's being truthful. Even when faced with the threat of a knife by Sonny, Sasha remains calm and reiterates his loyalty, and the device confirms his honesty. After answering all the questions, Sasha was welcomed into Sonny's group. What's surprising is that Sasha managed to trick the lie detector. He's actually an undercover FBI agent planning to bring down Sonny's gang from the inside. A while later, Sonny sends Nicholas and Sasha to his drug factory to oversee a shipment. They need to move fast, as the illegal cargo has to get to Russia by the next morning. Nicholas immediately gets his crew to work on preparing the shipment. But things take a sudden turn. Agent Williams, the head of the FBI, shows up with her team. She offers Nicholas a deal. He won't face jail if he testifies against Sonny. But Nicholas, having become very loyal to Sonny recently, turns down the offer. Sasha tries to reason with him, suggesting that it's better to surrender than to see people get hurt. But Nicholas is determined, and this leads to a fierce gunfight between Agent Williams' team and Nicholas and his gang. During a heated moment, Agent Williams almost took out Nicholas, but Sasha stepped in, thinking the FBI still had use for Nicholas. However, things took a turn. Nicholas got arrested, and Sasha ended up seriously wounded by a gunshot from Agent Williams. Later on, it's revealed that it was Agent Williams who had planted Sasha within Sonny's mafia. Fast forward to 8 months later. Sasha, fully healed, finds himself in Alcatraz, a prison situated on an isolated island in the sea. To his surprise, he runs into Nicholas there. Turns out, Nicholas had been moved in Alcatraz recently. The twist is that the FBI arranged for Sasha to be sent to this prison with a mission, to get close to Nicholas again and convince him to testify against Sonny's criminal activities. Meanwhile, in the city, we meet Hartman, an official. He's holding a press conference talking about Alcatraz prison. It's interesting because the prison had been shut down way back in 1962. The reason? It wasn't a great place for inmates. The conditions were pretty bad. But now the mayor, a woman, has decided it's time to reopen Alcatraz. Hartman assures everyone that this time around, the prison has been revamped. It'll be using modern systems and will be a far cry from its grim past. Back at the prison, it's time for Sasha and the other new inmates to get settled in their cells. But first, everyone has to pass through metal detectors to ensure they're not sneaking anything inside. When Sasha walks through, the detector goes off. A guard immediately grabs him, demanding to know if Sasha's hiding any metal items. Sasha insists he's not carrying anything, but the guard isn't convinced and shocks Sasha with a taser. This provokes Sasha, leading him to retaliate against the guard. In the midst of Sasha's struggle with the guard, Nicholas steps in. He can't stand by and watch his close friend be treated that way. He lunges at the officer in Sasha's defense. Just then, the chief warden, El Fuego, intervenes. Instead of further escalating the situation, El Fuego approaches Sasha calmly to investigate. Upon closer inspection, he finds out that Sasha's metal detector alarm was due to a metal implant in his leg, which was there because of a previously broken bone. The following day, El Fuego gathers all the prisoners. He wants to set the record straight about how things will run under his watch. He assures them that he's not inherently cruel. If the inmates follow the rules and show respect, El Fuego says they'll be treated well, almost like family. However, he warns that any act of defiance or disrespect will be met with severe punishment, and he won't think twice about resorting to extreme measures. El Fuego then informs them about a work program. Since Alcatraz has been closed for decades, it's in need of a lot of repair and maintenance. He plans to employ the inmates in tasks like digging, cleaning, and maintaining the grounds of the prison. It's a new beginning for Alcatraz, and the inmates are now part of its restoration. Not long after, the prison saw the arrival of McKenna, a man with quite a notorious reputation. He was on death row for stealing a massive amount of gold bars, which belonged to a corrupt official. The exact whereabouts of the stolen gold were a mystery to everyone but McKenna himself. Even the mayor tried to strike a deal with him, disclose the location of the gold, and get the death sentence lifted. But McKenna, for reasons known only to him, decided to remain silent, accepting his fate. A twist came a few hours later when El Fuego had some high-profile visitors, Hartman and the mayor. The pieces of the puzzle then fell into place. El Fuego, Hartman, and the mayor were all in cahoots. Their primary motivation for reopening the long-abandoned Alcatraz prison was to retrieve McKenna's hidden treasure. Rumors had been swirling that, during the prison's dormant years, McKenna stashed his gold somewhere within its walls. And if these three could find it, they'd have untold riches at their fingertips. This revelation also shed light on why El Fuego had the prisoners digging and working on the prison grounds. He was hoping they'd unwittingly uncover the hidden stash. Under the cover of night, a group of figures parachuted from the sky, landing stealthily on the grounds of Alcatraz prison. Swiftly and silently, they took out the guards stationed outside. Leading this intruding team was Jabber, an ex-police officer, and his right-hand woman, Richie's. Inside, in the dimly lit basement, McKenna and Sasha shared a moment. They were old comrades, having served together in special forces. It was a bittersweet reunion, with McKenna's execution looming large. McKenna had specifically asked to see Sasha as a final wish, and the prison authorities had granted it. But little did they know, their private exchange was not so private after all. From the shadows, the mayor discreetly eavesdropped, intent on learning any clues or secrets the two might share. El Fuego received a hurried update from one of his officers, explaining that they had lost audio surveillance on McKenna's and Sasha's conversation. The reason El Fuego mused could be due to a glitch caused by bad weather. But unbeknownst to him, it was actually Jabber's crew who were behind this, skillfully jamming the prison's surveillance systems. As they infiltrated further into the prison, they swiftly took out guards in their path, establishing control. In a cell, Nicholas watched the proceedings unfold with a smirk. In his mind, he believed this rescue mission was orchestrated by Sonny to retrieve him. Elsewhere, the mayor had her own agenda. In a tense face-off, she cornered McKenna, pressuring him to reveal the location of the hidden gold. In exchange, she offered him his life, promising to revoke the death penalty. But McKenna, ever the hardened soldier, saw through the facade. He believed that even if he spilled the beans, he would not be spared. While those in the basement, engrossed in their discussions and the weight of the moment, remained oblivious to the chaos unfolding above them. While all this was happening, Sasha was being escorted back to his cell by a guard. But as luck would have it, they bumped into Jabber's advancing forces. Shots were fired, hitting both Sasha and the guard. Sasha, however, survived because the bullet only grazed his arm, something Jabber's team failed to notice. In the execution chamber, El Fuego made a final plea to McKenna. He wanted to know where the gold was hidden. Instead of answering, McKenna thanked him for the sharp suit he was dressed in for his impending execution. Just then, Jabber's squad burst in, gaining control of the room. On the other hand, a sense of panic swept through the other inmates. Many feared they might fall victim to Jabber's group and tried to escape. Nicholas, however, appeared oddly calm, confident that the intruders would come to rescue him as well. Things took another twist when Jabber received an update from his men in the helicopter. A storm was brewing outside. The timing couldn't have been worse. The helicopter lost control and crashed into the prison's roof. Realizing the urgency, Jabber sent Richie's and a handful of his men to secure the upper levels of the prison. Reacting to the situation, Jabber grew impatient with McKenna's stubborn silence. Determined to get an answer, he took drastic measures. He aimed his weapon at a priest, an innocent bystander, and without hesitation, he pulled the trigger. The echoing gunshot and the priest's sudden fall sent shockwaves through the room. McKenna's heart sank, burdened with guilt. He felt his silence had indirectly led to the priest's death. While miles away at the FBI headquarters, urgent news broke out. The Coast Guard had reported a helicopter crash right atop Alcatraz. Agent Williams instantly felt a surge of anxiety. Among the chaos unfolding at Alcatraz was Sasha, one of her own, working undercover. At the Alcatraz prison, the tense standoff between Sasha, Nicholas, and Richie's continued. The familiar hum of danger and betrayal permeated the air. With Nicholas's sudden realization that these intruders weren't from Sonny's team, the dynamics shifted. The trust he had initially placed in Jabber and his group crumbled in an instant, replaced by a protective and defensive stance towards Sasha, his longtime comrade. Amidst the scuffle and gunfire, Sasha's quick thinking and combat training gave them a slight upper hand. As Richie's retreated, the duo found themselves momentarily in control, but the danger was far from over. They needed a plan and needed it fast. The prison's labyrinthine corridors echoed with the shouts and footsteps of Jabber's men, and every second counted. Back at the FBI headquarters, Agent Williams's fears became a reality as Jabber's voice crackled over the phone, his threats clear and unmistakable. The once abandoned prison had become a deadly battleground, and every person inside was now a potential victim in a high-stakes game of greed, deception, and survival. Agent Williams, with a steely determination in her eyes, began mobilizing her team. They needed to act swiftly and decisively to regain control of Alcatraz and ensure the safety of all its inhabitants. In a different vein, Nicholas and a group of inmates found an RPG, which they used to blow open a locked gunroom door. Once inside, they equipped themselves with weapons. At the same time, Jabber decided to escalate things by tying the mayor to a chair. He contacted the FBI, demanding they send a helicopter, threatening harm to the mayor if they didn't comply. Soon after, Richie's brought news to Jabber that there was a prisoner upstairs exceptionally good at combat, seemingly with special forces training. Jabber wondered if El Fuego knew about any such inmate in the prison, but El Fuego had no information. In a sudden twist, the mayor's bodyguard attempted to seize control by taking 2 of Jabber's crew hostage. However, Jabber shot both of them, assuming they were incapacitated. But to everyone's surprise, the 2 men were wearing bulletproof vests and got back on their feet, quickly taking down the bodyguard. Jabber then went up to Hartman. Turns out, Hartman had told Jabber's crew about the gold. As this was happening, Sasha and the inmates launched a surprise attack on the execution room using smoke grenades. They managed to save McKenna, but unfortunately, they had to leave the mayor tied to her chair because freeing her was too risky. Later, Sasha and Nicholas took McKenna to a secure place. There, Nicholas had a lot of questions for Sasha. Sasha finally admitted that he's an undercover FBI agent. Nicholas felt betrayed when he learned this because he thought Sasha was honest with him. After a little chat, both Sasha and McKenna were able to calm Nicholas down. On the other side, the FBI sent a helicopter to the prison as Jabber asked. Once the helicopter dropped off the FBI team, they quickly left. But Jabber and his group stayed because they still needed McKenna. They wanted to know where the gold bars were. Later, Sasha called Jabber. He proposed a swap, McKenna for the mayor. Jabber agreed to the trade because he was really after McKenna. Sasha was curious about Hartman and El Fuego. Jabber said Hartman died because he breathed in smoke from a grenade, but they're still keeping El Fuego as their hostage. The interesting twist: the idea of swapping the mayor for McKenna was McKenna's idea. He believed the mayor was just a puppet for Hartman. Shortly after, the prisoners are gearing up with weapons before the big swap happens. Sasha and Nicholas find themselves on top of a helicopter that had crashed onto the prison roof earlier. Sasha contacts the FBI to give them an update. Agent Williams tells Sasha to make sure the exchange goes smoothly and to avoid any shootouts. She also says that she and her team will be there soon. Sasha then opens up to Nicholas about why he's after Sonny. Apparently, Sonny is responsible for killing Sasha's wife. The twist is that Sonny has no clue that the man he's dealing with is the husband of the woman he killed. Nicholas understands Sasha's motive now, and on top of that, he's also feeling pretty let down by Sonny, who hasn't done anything to rescue him. In the meantime, Jabber and his team go to the spot where they're supposed to swap McKenna for the mayor. When they get there, they get McKenna, and they let the mayor go. But just as it's happening, one of the prisoners decides to attack Jabber's crew. A huge gunfight breaks out. El Fuego corners Richie's in the chaos. Jabber and one of his remaining guys manage to get away, taking both McKenna and the mayor with them. El Fuego is just about to shoot Richie's when the FBI shows up and tells him to stop. But in the midst of this, Nicholas gets shot and he's hurt really badly. Sasha comforts Nicholas, telling him he'll be okay, and reveals that Nicholas is actually his closest friend. Later, Sasha and Agent Williams are chasing after Jabber. As they're getting closer, Jabber threatens to hurt the mayor. But then, out of nowhere, the helicopter they're in blows up. Turns out McKenna had secretly put a bomb in his shirt earlier. He did this to make up for some bad things he did in the past. The movie wraps up with Sasha finding the gold bars in a hidden spot behind McKenna's garden. McKenna had secretly shared the hiding spot with Sasha earlier. Sasha decides to give some of this gold to charity, since it originally belonged to a corrupt person who's no longer alive. Then we see Sasha visiting Nicholas in prison. Sasha shares the good news. Nicholas will be getting out. They both agree to team up to chase down Sonny. Sasha also mentions he's kept some of the gold for their future plans. The moral of the story is sharing gold with charity might sound noble, but next time, consider leaving some for popcorn during movie night too.